Okay, well, here we are. Welcome to Simon Chardiet's New York Stories. And fuck it, I was born here. I lived here my whole life. I lived in Kent, Ohio for 10.5 months, but it's the only time I didn't live in New York City. Kent, fucking Ohio, that was a fucking disaster. That's in my New York Stories, too. Anyway, can everybody hear me? Please make comments. I want to thank everybody too that's been coming to the shows at the Otto's Shrunken Head on 14th Street and Avenue B. Last month I played there twice, but I'm playing there usually once a month. We're doing matinee shows also, 4 p.m. The next one coming up is going to be March 12th at 4 p.m. Turn off. That light's kind of glaring, isn't it? Hold on a minute. There we go. Well, no matter what I do, I'm not going to look any younger. So, let me see. I had a whole list of shit I was going to write about, but I'm going to write, I'm going to write about, I'm going to talk about a couple of things here. Uh, what I call the artillery tractor years because of the van I had. I actually had a couple of these vans, but they were some pretty interesting years in my life. Uh, and it's going to go back to I got signed to Upstart Records, and I took some of the record advance money and stuff, and I really fucked up. I went into debt. I bought a brand new 1995 Dodge van, which was a complete lemon. It used to break down on me all the time. I had it for a few years, but I was paying like car payments and insurance, and the thing broke down on me. I actually, uh, you know, it was always a crapshoot as to whether the thing would actually start or not. And I was like bringing it back to the dealer, and they didn't want to take it back and fix it, and it was just a fucking drag. So, um, but I did have some good tours in it. That's the van I was driving Dee Dee and Marky around in, and we did the public nuisance tours with that van also, and we also we also I did a bunch of tours with other bands too. Barbecue Bob, we went out on the road in that. But then I finally couldn't take it breaking down anymore, so I put it back in a dealer's lot and I wrote it surf wax. I got like yellow surf wax and I wrote like I am a lemon and I suck and stuff on it. And I just like took the plates and the reg tag off it and everything and split. I took the bus back to New York and like I left it there. And then they were coming after me for the money, but luckily Rob Schwartz somehow uh, got me out. Thank you, Rob. Rob Schwartz got me out of that deal. I don't know how the hell he did it. Uh, because, it was like, yo, debt sucks. Don't go into debt, man. I'd rather just get like a jalopy vehicle and like just run the wheels off it and then get another. The debt sucks. Anyway, so after that, I'm walking down the street and I'm like, okay, I got rid of that thing. And I saw this beat up old 1986 Toyota van. So this would be like 1999. And the guy wanted $500 for it. And this surfer guy I knew went, checked it out, said it was okay. And I got it for $500. So instead of this brand new posh, $25,000 van, we had this like $500 beater. It didn't have windows. It was like a panel truck, and somebody had put like a wooden seat into it that was just sitting on the floor on a piece of plywood. Like the seats wasn't bolted down or nothing. So the equipment held the seat in, and we started touring in that, man. So we went, oh my God, we just, And at that point, Scott had left to go play with Jack Black, and Glenn was gone too. Glenn was gone out of the band, and like I had for a while, I had real problems having a steady band. I had a revolving door band, so I was always like teaching people the songs and teaching bass players the songs. It's why I don't have a bass player now, because I can't do it anymore. I can't teach a bass player my songs anymore. I just can't do it. I just can't stand it anymore. So I got Hippie Craig from and then Julian from Public Nuisance. Public Nuisance, I kind of got like kicked out of Public Nuisance, or they were kind of falling apart anyway. But they wanted a little more of like a heavy metal sounding guitar player than me, and I love those guys though. I love Jimmy's playing with the FUs now, and Julian from Public Nuisance joined, and then I knew this guy from like my old neighborhood when I was living in the back of my dad's doctor's office, and hung out in Central Park, and he was like this. He had like long Craig, and he had like a beard and long hair and a headband, and he had like tie-dye shirts always, like he was a hippie. So he was the perfect guy to be in a punk band like Simon and the Bar Sinisters, because he looked like a hippie. So we were like, fuck you, and me and Julian always had this kind of look. And then we had this hippie guy, so it was great. And he was down for it. He was down for learning the songs. And the thing about Craig is, Julian and Craig, they were down for rehearsing. They wanted to learn the songs. They wanted to do it. And we had this fucked up van, so we just started playing everywhere, like that we could. The South had kind of tapped out. Like all the good gigs down south had kind of fallen apart. So we started playing out in the Rust Belt all the time. Out in like upstate New York, at Buffalo and Cleveland and Ohio, and that was our thing, and we'd go out on the road for like 4 days, come back, then like 2 months later we'd go out on the road. We were just trying to, and we made that CD, Artillery Tractor, and we named it after the van, and we were playing at Coyote. And it was like I told Albert and Mike, I want to just do it live to 2 tracks. So we had a PA set up, and we just took all our gear from the stage. And that was back then. Take me with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be sexist now, but that's back when men were men and played through men's amplifiers, meaning like loud. Like big amplifiers, like Fender Bassman, 2 amps, cranked up loud, big bass amp. So we had like the SVT rig, and then we had I had 2 Fender amps, from the, like I probably had like 80 watts and like probably 3 speakers, and Craig had like 8 speakers. We were playing we weren't playing this fucking well, I'm going to use a model profiler and go direct into the board and let the sound man control my sound and in-ear monitors and all that fuck, shit. I will never use in-ear monitors. You try to stick that shit in my ears, man. Just try sticking a fucking monitor in my ear. I don't like sound, man. I'm fortunate. I'm such a small figure in the music business. I'm so not in the fucking, I'm such a marginal character that most of the places that I play are so small that they don't have a sound man, and I just set up the sound myself and play myself, and I like it like that. I don't have some fucking body telling me to fucking turn down, So we did that album, and the guys that were working at Coyote said the whole building was shaking because we were playing pretty good and fucking loud. We made that whole record is live to 2-track tape, There's no fixes, no splices, no overdubs. If we fucked up, we had to just start it over again. You know what I mean? So we made that artillery tractor record, and that was a lot of fun to do. And then we were touring, and that's when I met Big Skip, because we were playing in Cleveland, and I was torturing the audience. I asked him, anybody in the audience is in the Red Wing Club? Do you know what the Red Wings are? And people in the audience were like, oh, look, we got the chat. Sorry, hi, Simon, love your stories. Thanks. You ain't gonna love this story I'm telling, because it's really rude. It's really low class. But I said to the audience, you know what Red Wings are? Anybody in the Red Wing Club? Hey, put your hand up. What's a Red Wing? And nobody knew. So I was like, it's when you go down on your old lady when she's having her monthlies. Come on. Anybody got a Red Wing? And nobody put up their hands. And so I made a really politically incorrect remark to them, basically telling them that they were not men. I could never get away with this shit now. Now I would never say it because it's not politically correct, and it's like, tell you the truth, I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm trying to catch up with the times, But so anyway, after the show, this big giant guy, 6'4", 250 pounds, with a motorcycle club jacket with patch on the back, comes up to me. I thought he was gonna fucking punch me out for like calling the audience the F-bomb, and he starts laughing. Red Wings, Red Wings, and then Joey Miserable and Worms, and that was Big Skip. So we went to Big Skip's town, New Philadelphia, Ohio, and we used to play down there in New Philadelphia. We used to go in the artillery tractor, and our thing was we would go in the winter. It would be snowing, cold weather, and we would go in this cargo van with no heat in the back because we wanted to just get out and play for the people, and we never thought about it. We never thought about, hey, what happens if it fucking snows, right, Julian, right, Craig? We just were like, we're gonna fucking go, man. We went through some fucking snowstorms and cold. Like, we played fucking Cleveland. It was like 4 degrees or something. It was so fucking cold. We played and Buffalo. We played like Buffalo. Look, we got some more. The monthly classic. Okay, so I'm good. I'm glad you wasn't offended from that shit. So we would just do this shit. Like recently, I had somebody. It was playing like near the bottom of the bill, someplace on like a 5-band bill. One of them things. The headline is canceled because it was going to snow a little bit, and it's like, I don't come from that fucking school of thought. Like, this is my job. I don't do it just for fun. This is my fucking job. I don't get paid a lot of money for what I do, but I love what I do. And I'm going to get in a fucking van and fucking drive anywhere. And if it's fucking snowing and I die, I won't be the first musician that died out on the road. Ask Buddy Holly. Hello, Sammy Baker. Boss, what's happening, man? What's happening? So those are the artillery tractor. And I also just remember we were playing one time, and Skip's wife, Norma, she was fucking hilarious. She was a card. Man, she was like such a crusty, acerbic, like wonderful, beautiful, tough, tiny, like 5 foot tall person. She was like so, she just was like, so we were playing, and there was some guy, like, we always would get Pest Man. You're playing a bar, and he'll be this drunk guy, and he'll be like right up in your face, like, the whole gig. You can't see the audience. He makes it all about him. So like Norma goes up to him and she pokes him. She goes, "Hey, you like sex?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." "Do you like travel?" He goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Take a fucking hike." And Norma's not with us anymore. And I heard Skip pass too. I loved Skip. So at the end of the night after that, the club owner tried to short us on our pay. He was like, "Well, it's to where we're really not making any money, dude. Times are rough." And it's like, I'm in fucking like New Philadelphia, Ohio. I just drove here from fucking New York to play here, man. Come on, get gas ain't free. And then I was like, "Skip, your boy Danny's fucking trying to stiff me on the money." And like, Skip, he rode a Harley Davidson motorcycle. He'd been in a lot of crashes. Uh, and he had been in the army. He was a Vietnam veteran. He'd been in the army in Vietnam. He was in combat, 2 tours of combat, so 2 years in combat. So guy was my friend. He was a real sweetheart, but he was no fucking joke. Okay, so Skip goes into the club owner's office, and he comes out with the fucking money. He goes, "Here, I got your money there, Simon. I'm sorry about that." He goes, "That Danny, he's a cheap nickel and dime scumbag. I've killed better people than him." And when Skip tells you that, he meant. So we love Skip. So that's like the artillery tractor stories. And then that one blew up. We went to the fucking, like, we went to the bicycle races in Trexlertown, Pennsylvania. They have a velodrome, and the thing blew up on the way back. So I got another one with windows and heat in the back, right? So I loved my artillery tractors, man. Drove them into the fucking ground, man. So now I want to go to Rockaway, all right? Like, I was living in Brooklyn. I lived there a long time. And I lived over in this area, Greenpoint. Used to be all Polish. We called it Polish Town. Once you went the other side of, like, McCarran Park, nobody spoke English. Everybody spoke Polish. Every sign was in Polish. And if you went into a store, they go, "Broisha." And if you were like, "Hey, can I have 2 pieces of bread?" They would give you a dirty look. Like, they didn't want us gringos in there, man. If you wasn't Polish, they were kind of like, they were, not too friendly to us if you wasn't Polish. I loved it. That was way up there, man, in the far ass end of fucking Greenpoint by the sewer plant. I was living in this place, and I liked it. It was like a big place and everything. But then uh, this guy Victor, he told me he had this bungalow court in Rockaway, and he was good, and he'd rent me a bungalow. And I thought about it, and I was like, I could see what direction Brooklyn was headed in with the hipsters and everything. Like, I knew the rents were going to go up. I saw all these hipsters. This is probably about 2002, and it was like the way the hipsters dressed back then. It was before the beards, and it was before the fucking straw hats or fedoras. They dressed a super annoying look where it was like these like emo glasses, like those thick emo. They look okay on Buddy Holly, but that's Buddy Holly. That those emo glasses, and then they had those panel '70s T-shirts, like ironic. I like ironic, like they were in some hockey arena putting the fucking cigarette lighters up for Kansas or fucking Bachman Turner Overdrive. Then they had the punk rock studded belt, right, with the studs on it, which really pissed me off because now I look like a chooch wearing my punk rock studded belt. Now I'm too old to wear any of that shit. I just look like a fucking chooch wearing that shit, but I still got it in my collection. It's in the collection. So, and then just such an annoying look. And then the trucker hat, like, that was the look back then. And we used to call them, hipsters or fakingers because they would ride these, like we were bike messengers, and they would try to copy us. They ride these fake messenger bikes or whatever, and so we called them fakingers or Scooby Doos, which is rhyming slang for haven't got a clue, Scooby Doo. So that's what we used to call them. But I saw it was all these rich kids moving in, and it's starting to get a little precious coffee shops and shit. So I was like, well, I'm gonna get priced out of here eventually. So like what key here? I'm gonna change the caption here to virtual tips, PayPal. Like I said, I love what I do, but I don't make a lot of money at it, and I probably never will. But I love what I do, so that's worth more than money, right? So I moved to Rockaway. I moved. We had some great characters on our block. We had this guy, Bernie, who always kind of talked out the side of his mouth like this, and he gave me a surfboard one time. He had this fucking old pop out surfboard. He said he got it in the PX in the Army, and he used to hang around on the street corner. A woman, he talked dirty to all the women that walked by. He was kind of a prevert, and but he gave me a surfboard. So 9/11 had happened. I was surfing and I saw this big fucking mushroom cloud, and I was, holy shit. I thought some crackhead set a car on fire in Canarsie or something, because we're kind of like right across from Canarsie, or it ain't too far from us anyway. I was like, that's like, it didn't, but no, it was fucking 9/11. 9/11 had happened, and I was working as a bike messenger, so you could smell the fire. Didn't go out for months, but you could smell like the burning sheetrock and burning metal, and you could smell the corpses. Anytime they would give me a run downtown, it was like 2,000 people, and their bodies were in that building, so you could smell the decaying corpses and the burning like shit for months, and it was just like fucked up shit, so I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna move to Rockaway, and I moved to Rockaway, and it was wonderful. I had I still got to live in the old New York. The block I lived, half the pavement on the street was missing, so there was these big holes and dirt and then water in it. There's a bunch of empty lots with these incredible flowers that would grow, like beach roses, like just wild roses with really sharp, nasty thorns on them that just would grow out of nowhere. And these big bluebells. And we used to park the artillery tractor in there. We'd all park our cars there. And like Adam and Casey lived on this block, and my landlord Victor, and this guy Xavier that wound up kind of bugging out in the middle of the night and leaving Rockaway. But and then we had Gangster Eddie across the street. He was like a stone cold fucking wise guy, but he was always nice to me. And then the first night I moved into Rockaway, I schlepped all my stuff in, and I was like, how am I gonna fit this stuff into this bungalow? It had like a attic in it, which you climbed up a ladder. So that was great. So I started figuring out how I was gonna live there. But I picked up my guitar, and I plugged into a small amp, and I started just playing, right? And I heard knocking on the door, and it was Carmen. And Carmen, if you remember, she's the girl like, we gonna beat you like you was from Brooklyn, right? So she goes, honey, that sounds real good. I'm your neighbor, Carmen. Could you turn it up, honey? I can't hear it good enough. I was like, wow, this is the first time anybody asked me to turn up, right? So and then she brung me some rice and beans and a salad and a piece of pernil. She knocked on my door, so she fed me. Great lady. She was Gangster Eddie's mother-in-law, And I lived there for a long time, you know, Rockaway. There was so many characters out there back then. Like there was Shrinky Dink, Barbara. She's probably even shorter than me and just really like little skinny, totally tough as nails Rockaway girl. Great, great, great surfer. We called her Shrinky Dink. She's probably 8 or 9 years old, but she was so tough. Like you'd paddle out there on a big day, hard to get out, getting a fucking beating going out. And she'd be sitting there on her board. What's up, kook? Took you a while to get out, didn't it? Like she was like so fucking great. One time I seen her, I said, "Hey, Barbara, you want to ride?" I was in the artillery tractor. She was like, "I ain't going anywhere in that jalopy." Another time, her and her cousin Lauren, we was all broke, right? And she was like, "Watch this," and she went through all the seaweed. It was the middle of summer, and all the seaweed came in. And her and Lauren walked down like 4 or 5 blocks on the beach, going through all the seaweed, and they came back with $30. I was like, "How'd you find the money in the seaweed?" And she goes, "All the DFDs go out in their clothes with their money in their pocket, and then the water washes it out of their pocket, and it comes in and gets stuck in the seaweed. It's an old Rockaway trick. What's the matter with you? You don't know how to do that?" Like, so we ate, you know, we had pizza. And the guy that lived across the street from me, Slats, Marty Slattery, he is such a fucking great guy, big Irishman with a big mustache. He lived in a Winnebago across the street because he had a house in Long Beach where his family lived, and he was a sand hog, so he was always working on those tunnels. But he would crash in the. He grew up on that block, and he would always come back to the block, and he had this Winnebago, and he'd sleep in it. This big guy, big broken square knuckles, like his knuckles had been broken 40 times. Like don't fuck with a guy with big broken square knuckles, man. Uh, and he was so fucking funny. He said so much shit that was so wrong. Like he used to be like, "I got laid. I got 4 kids. I got laid 5 times." Shit like that. He's talking about his wife, you know. He go, "I'm hung like a field mouse." And he would, "Hey, brother Simon. You know, I used to like come home from like heavy trash tours with bottles of whiskey I'd swipe from the hospitality, and I always give him a bottle of Jack Daniels or something that I swiped from the fucking backstage at Heavy Trash. And because I don't drink, obviously. And just such a great guy. "Yeah, brother Simon." And he'd tell me about his day at work in the Sandhog. And then I remember Gangster Eddie had to leave town, and these other fucking real lowlifes. Like Gangster Eddie was kind of he was the governor on that block, and like every block of Rockaway had the guy that was the governor, all right, and kind of looked out for the block. It didn't tolerate no shit, okay. Like 92nd Street, like okay, there was the governor. You know, there was one on 92nd Street, right? And then there was the governor on 88th Street, and the governor on our street was Gangster Eddie. And like you didn't want to fuck with Gangster Eddie or his mother-in-law for that matter. But Marty's there. The governor moved out. Now his house is empty, and there's just all these real like low life like crackheads in there trying to sell crack out of there or squatting there. So the things got like kind of sketchy. And these hipsters kind of started this club, this bar next to my house. I knew it was going to be trouble because it was like this hip, you know, it was all like, "We're going to create this groovy scene here." And then like, what do you mean creating? I think a groovy scene has already been created here long ago, you know, but you know, I'm open-minded, you know, and like I'll always give everybody a chance. That's my downfall, right? So but there was this big fucking shootout, okay? Like boom, boom, boom. It was like a 45 and a 9. And I was practicing my upright bass. I remember I put my bass down. I was like, oh my God, a bullet could go right through the rotted wood in my bungalow and go through my bass. So I was lying down on the floor, and the fight's over. And the bullets went through, some of them went through Slats' truck, right? And some of them went through Scott Lois's house down the block. There's bullet holes. So the next morning, the hipsters are there, and they're all looking at the bullet holes and everything, like that. And I said, I told you this. I told you to watch your back around here. I told you shit could jump on this block real easy. Like you guys moved here from somewhere else. I don't think you really fucking understand how this place works, I told you to watch out. And they were just, because before they were rolling, now they were like white as fucking sheet. And then I hear this fucking truck coming down the block, and it's Slats, and his whole truck is shot full of bullet holes from this stupid fucking gunfight. These two macaronis, like you got the Mac, and then you got the macaronis, and these two fucking So, and he's got Leonard Skinner on, and he's singing. Then he gets out of the car, and Leonard Skinner's playing, and he's singing, "Give me back my bullets!" Like his fucking car just got shot up, and he's laughing about it. So, and then there's just these other characters like BJ. Okay, BJ was just like, oh my God, where do I get started about BJ? I love him to pieces. He's like my brother, my family. He's a fucking lunatic. I first met him. He come into surfing a couple of years after I did, and so we kind of came in together, and we were like, before we came. I was one of the first guys to start coming down here from the city, and I'm probably the first guy that moved here from the city because nobody wanted to live in Rockaway. They were like, it's really dilapidated, it's dangerous, it's a ghetto. I was like, what's not to like? Yeah, I loved it. I remember my daughters were living with me. They were like, Daddy, it looks like Mississippi down here. And I just loved the old Rockaway the way it was. And BJ is such a character. Like he's just a ne'er-do-well, hail fellow well met, like bluff, loud guy, and a great surfer. Great guy in the water out, total like party monster, but such a lovable guy. And the thing about BJ that I'll tell in these stories is that BJ is where boards go to die. Every single surfboard that BJ owned and possessed all these fucking years, and like I'm telling you, I know him 25 some odd years, 26 years, he's broken in half. It's like there'll be waves out there, we'll be surfing, I'll be paddling out, and half a broken board will go by me, and then there's BJ swimming for it every fucking board. It's like me, and then there's Vinny. There's Vinny, just such a stand-up guy. When I met him the same time I met BJ, and Vinny loves music, supports my music. He loves the Grateful Dead. He's like a total Grateful Dead fan. He loves the Mavericks. Great guy to surf with. One time I saw him run over 7 kooks in a row on the Rent-A-Foamies. Like, boom, 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 boom. The 7th kook, he finally fucking fell off. But he's in the world's record for how many kooks could you just run over on one wave. Just great fucking guy. Adam Two Dogs, another brother of mine, hasn't been. We called him Two Dogs because he had 2 dogs. Now he's got 1, but he used to have 2 dogs. They passed away. And then there was like, oh God, so many characters. Like the kooks we used to have in the old days before surfing got popular. They were more like weird kooks. Like there was this one guy that would lie face down on his board in 1 foot of water right by the rocks, and he never moved from that spot. Like he's never right on the shore, and he would just lay there on his board all day long and do this and talk to himself like, and you always wear like a 4-3 winter suit, even in the middle of summer. So it'd be 100 degrees out. This guy's wearing a winter suit, and he's always on his board in 6 inches of water right by the rocks, constantly, always. And we had this other guy that used to wear like a beige leotard and then a Farmer John windsurfer suit and a headband, or like blue leotard. So he kind of looked weird, but and he had a beard, and so the kind of kooks we had back then, you know, we had the shore break cross step kook. The guy would come down and you never saw him outside surfing a wave. He would just go in the whitewater and cross step, right? Which is a fancy pants longboard move. I can't really do it on a camera. It would, I'd have to, but then he would go up to, he would try to pick up girls. Hey, have you tried cross stepping? Really need to try cross stepping is cool. I wish I could fucking do it. I can't do it. I'm not a great surfer, but cross stepping is when you're on your board, right? And you kind of cross your feet like, I can't do it. You cross one foot over the other to walk to the front of the board. It's great if you could do it. I've never been able to pull it off. So one day it's about a 5 foot, 6 foot day. And this is back in the 90s. It was back in the 90s. There was like those wooden pylons every 200 feet. So there was these big wooden poles, like pier heads going out in the water. You had to surf around them. And there was, they hadn't pulled them out yet. And there was a lot, everything was lower. The beach was lower. And even the sandbar was lower. The pylon stuck up. So I see him outside, and I say, "Holy shit! It's a shore break cross step kook." I've never seen him actually surf, and this is like I seen the guy surf for like 5 years, but I never seen him outside. He caught a wave. It was like, "Holy shit! This guy's ripping." He cross stepped to the nose. He had fucking 10 toes over, just like like those surf tunes. Fucking guy screaming down the line. And he's back in this pose like Barishnikov, and he runs right into the fucking, like he runs right into the wooden pilings, which stick up like in those days 6 feet. He just goes right into him, and you can hear it, boom. And then he's coming down. His board's broken. He's all scratched up. He's bleeding from his face. And my daughter just looks at him and goes, "Hello there, Splinters." So that from then on, he was Splinters, right? So, then one time Giuliani came down to fucking some kind of ceremony in the beach, and there's fucking Giuliani. I hate him. He's the guy that rescinded the law that you couldn't have chain stores in New York. So therefore, like, that's why New York has turned into this shitty fucking mall. Everything's like a shitty fucking strip mall now. So we were all surfing, and it was really hot out. So we dropped our wetsuits in our trunks, and we were catching a wave, and we would like switch stance and like moon Giuliani from the water and drop our wetsuits. So we were like mooning him and exposing ourselves and giving him the finger from the water. And the cops kind of beeped their sirens at us a couple times. We were like, "Come out and get us." So those are my Rockaway stories. I got. Do I have any more? Yeah, Rockaway. Oh man, it used to just be so gangy. So you would always hear gunfire. And one time I was coming back from surfing, and right outside the Chinese takeout, I heard bang, 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 and they shot this guy. And there was always this fucking crazy shit going on, and 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 just all kinds of fucking crazy shit. So, okay, those are my artillery tractor and Rockaway stories about the old New York. And I'm kind of winding it down. I'm going to have this is 47, the next one's 48, and that's the last one because I'm going to get into Hurricane Sandy. And then just a kind of epilogue, because Hurricane Sandy is the day the last vestiges of the old New York got wiped out. Now we're in the new New York. Hey, I ain't gonna fucking complain. I'm alive, So I want to thank everybody for the chats and the comments. I hope you enjoyed this, and once again, the governors. Tim Hill was the governor of where I live now, 91st Street. He was the governor till he passed away. Freddie was the governor of 92nd Street. Tim Hickey was is the governor of 88th Street. And then Gangster Eddie was the governor over on 87th. And like every block had the governor, you know. He was like the guy, the go-to guy, you know. And so it was just a kind of fascinating place to move to. Also, the thickest New York accent, even thicker than Brooklyn, like totally fucking unrepentantly thick accent. Maybe like really in the depths of Brooklyn and Rockaway, the, you know, the purest old school New York accents. You just heard it everywhere. So, all right, that's it, guys. Love you. And I'll catch a wave for you out there in Rockaway Beach. All right. Remember, I'm playing Auto Shrunken Head with Simon and JJ, and then I'm playing Rippers this summer. I'm gonna play Rippers June 3rd and August 26th with Simon and JJ. Right now, I'm just playing with Simon and JJ, and waiting for the developments. You know, if for some reason people will still fucking come up and see this wrinkly old guy playing, put money in the tip jar, ugly as I am. Oh God. Okay. Take care, everybody. Let me see if I can fucking turn this fucking thing off. Where's the end video button? For fuck's sake. All right. End stream. All right. See? Take care.